To create a setup file to take to your machines, such as at the beginning of a new year or at harvest for variety locator, select the tools icon, scroll to the bottom, and select Setup Builder. Choose your display type. I'm going to choose Greenstar 3 2630 or Gen 4. Create a file name. We're going to create new, or you could create from a previously existing setup file and modify it. Click the Start button. One item that's a little bit confusing is the black section on the left side. This is simply a filter if you did not wish to save all client farm field information or guidance tracks. In most cases, you will not utilize the filter. You'll simply save everything for your organization. So I'm going to click the filter button to hide it. Next, we're going to work on our land, which is going to be our fields, boundaries, and guidance tracks. If you check the box beside name, all fields, guidance lines, boundaries, and flags will be selected in the setup file. Notice they are all check marked in blue and each field is expanded out. You can see what type of file on the right hand side. There's also a selection tool up above where it says select assets. So if I chose I did not want to see boundaries, I have to click boundaries and then unclick, and then we can see our boundaries are no longer selected. So we may have boundaries in Operations Center, but if they are not accurate, we may not want them to go to the displays and cause issues with section control. Similarly, I could choose all guidance tracks, no guidance tracks. Also, I can do the same with flags. One item to note, over on the right hand side, there's a checkbox for including variety locator information to save to the combine in the fall. You do not need to check this box when setting up a file for planting. This would only be for harvest setup. When you select include variety locator, it's going to list the crop that is currently planted in that field. Scroll down through the list and ensure there are no fields that have a drop down where potentially two crops might have been planted in the same field. You will need to rectify that by choosing one or the other. Once ready to move on, select the next button. Again, there's a filter on the left-hand side. In most cases, we will not utilize the filter, so I'll simply close that, or you can leave it open and move right along. I'm simply going to choose machines and select all machines. I also need to go to implements, and I'm going to go ahead and select all implements. In most cases, you will want to save all of your machines and all of your implements, not just machines or implements for the current seasons of usage. So in the spring, you may want to just go ahead and put a combine and a set of heads in case maybe you need to run wheat and don't create another setup file before that happens. We'll click on next. We'll go to our products. Again, there's a filter which I'm going to ignore. I'm going to select all of my products so we can see chemicals, fertilizers, varieties. Then also, if I have set up any tank mixes, I can choose whether I would like to include those tank mixes in my setup file. You have the ability to create operators, but you do not have to. We'll simply move on. The last page is a summary. Just checking the file name and editing any details. Most of the time, you can just go right through this page and select Create File. So now we will see our new setup file being created. We can see here date created July 6th. Then to actually save this file or send it to a machine, we'll go to Files Manager. We'll see the setup file. It should be at the top of the list if it was just created. Right now the setup file is grayed out and unavailable to download. We will need to wait for that setup file to light up green. Once the file is lit up green, we can select the file and we can either transfer it directly to equipment through wireless data transfer, or we can download the file. Typically, we will download the file to John Deere Data Manager. The file will show up in the bottom left corner. Go ahead and open the file, and John Deere Data Manager should automatically open up on its own. Choose your target location, which would be your USB device on the computer. Ignore the No Files Found warning. Ensure the USB was already installed in the computer in order to have it in the drop-down list. Click Transfer. Then it should take somewhere around 30 seconds and you should get a notification that the file was successfully transferred to the USB. We are now ready to take the USB out to the machine in the display and import our new setup file.